We're going to call our meeting to order, please. Today's Tuesday, April 14th at 9 o'clock. We're at the Public Works Building for our regular council meeting. Getting to the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Hammond.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for the many blessings that you have given us today. We thank you that your mercies are new every morning, Father. We thank you, Father, for your love, your mercy, and your grace today. Today, I ask you that your hand will be upon the council. Help them, Lord, make the best decisions they can for the city. We pray for our nation, for our president, for our administration, Father God, and pray that you give them wisdom and knowledge, Father. We also, as we lift up our military, Father, just pray that your hand will be upon them and guard them, protect them, and put a hedge of protection around the military, Father, as they're protecting our country. Today, Father, I just thank you for those that need your touch, Father, that need peace, that need hope, Father. I thank you, Lord, that you just reach down and give them strength. We just thank you for everything that you've given us. May the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart always be acceptable to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Appreciate that prayer. You mind taking a roll, please?
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Fasano?
Here.
Mr. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Hamilton? Here. Mayor Wolf?
Here. The first thing on the agenda is minutes for March 24th. Have they been reviewed? Any changes or anything?
Yes.
Good. Minutes are okay. Let's start on our regular agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we take a roll? We did not.
We did.
Yes, we did.
I'm behind already. I'm just getting started, right? All right. Kind of a good sense to start the meeting with the employee of the quarter.
Thank you, Your Honor. By now you figured out who the employee of the quarter is. It's not Mike and it's not me. When someone purchases a home in Mexico Beach, those decisions are made with their mind and their hearts. And so we owe it to them that when they come into City Hall, they're treated with the utmost respect. As you know, City Hall is not a place to have a private conversation. I can hear Mike's phone call on the other end of the building. So when someone comes into our office, I may not hear what they say because of the vestibule, but I do hear what Andrea says. And sometimes when people come into the office, they're not always the most nice people, but yet you would never know that by her tone of voice and the way she treats people. And so with that, we are eternally grateful for the kindness you show to our public as they come in. So Mike, if you would take it from there.
All right, and she is part of the finance staff and a valued part of the finance staff. And again, to reiterate what Mel said in her dealing with the public, but also staff does come to Andrea. I know Mel has, and I know Julie has, and I know I have, to do some special projects that are not really into her job description and what she needs to do, and she takes on those duties, gets them finished in a nice, timely manner, and hand it back to us. So for that, we're also grateful. So being an employee of the quarter, they get a nice little plaque. I'll keep it boxed up. They get a day off, and they get $25 extra added to their payrolls. So it's a good gift to give from the city, but it's also a reflection of the good work of the staff, of the members that receive it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And your reward is you don't have to sit for the rest of this council.
Go back to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, first, second thing on the agenda is the task order for the ADA walkover street, Anchor, Mr. Elizabeth.
Good morning, Elizabeth Moore with Anchor CEI. What you have for your second agenda item is the task order for ADA walkover number 3. This is the dune walkover that your staff was very successful in obtaining a grant for. This is also the second part of the design. The first part was we brought some conceptual designs to the public and had everybody vote on them. The city staff also followed up with a Facebook survey, I think, and then the overwhelming, I think, majority was that people on the Facebook survey, once we tallied everything up, was to put it at the pier. So that is the task order that you have in front of you. I would note that it is a little bit more. This is the third dune walkover that we have presented a task order for. This one is a little bit more than the last two. Largely because we've discovered that the permitting process is a little bit more than we originally bargained for. So that's been taking a lot of time and effort. And also just a little bit of back and forth with the grant agency. So it is a little bit more, but hopefully after this one, any future ones will go back to the previous price schedule. And I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start by opening to the public. Any input on the ADA walkovers from the public? Close the public, come to the table. I guess I'll get started. The only question I had, I mean, I'm pretty much aware of, our split here, 50-50, and the increase that you explained. Exclusions, tell us a little bit about that. Are we gonna see more costs down the road on any of these you listed?
You will, but the majority of them is no. The only ones that you're going to see that we anticipate you seeing coming back is the construction admin and inspection services, only because those, is my understanding, the city is going to apply for a second grant to construct the project, and those fees would be part of that grant. So if there's any, and then permitting application fees, we typically just don't include those. That is typically just something that the city, any city we work with pays the application fees, just because they can vary. But other than that, we do not anticipate any of these other fees that are listed on here as far as drainage, stormwater, water, sewer, offsite design. None of those are anticipated.
Any estimate on the construction administrative inspection services fees?
Well, that's really kind of,
$26,000.
it's kind of up to the city, because if the city has staff that can do it, then we don't even have to be involved. So, and then I would say that the max it would maybe be $6,000. That's the max, and that's us coming out here and checking them pretty regularly.
You said 6,000?
That's the max. That's like if we were out here like every day watching them. But yes.
That's quite a bit on 26.
Well, don't get mad at me yet. Let's wait and see what the city wants.
I'm just saying, okay in 26.
That's if you wanted the Cadillac. I'm just saying that if you want us out there every day watching their every move, which some clients do, then that's how much it can cost.
Well, you have my ear when you said maybe the city can take care of it.
Absolutely.
That's a possibility. We'd like to look at something like that, I'm sure.
I mean, and there's been, the pedestrian bridge, we don't have CEI for that, and yet we've been very involved in that project. I think there's a couple others that I know that we don't have CEI services on. We're available to the city, so.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Can you characterize maybe a couple of reasons why it was so hot, the delays were so high this time with permitting as opposed to the big issue?
Probably not. I can tell you that our design is no more impactful than any other design anywhere up and down the beach. And we submitted other examples of exactly what other cities and other designers have provided, and the response was that they can't look at any other, and these are new, these are not like grandfathered, these were ones that are either being constructed now or are recently constructed, and I was told that they can't evaluate our design based on any other design, even though we're in the same sea turtle nesting habitat area. I talked to Barbara Ells about the sea turtle nesting. Asked her if there was anything that caused any additional scrutiny. I think we just got a little unlucky with the reviewer. Is all.
Oh, are we talking about 1 and 2?
No, this one here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. 1 and 2, that's why the increase in the permitting is because of our experience with
Yeah,
1
you're
and 2.
not talking about 3.
No, but it'll be I'm assuming that the process will be the same.
Well, I mean, I just heard you say that this time it cost a little more, took a little bit longer.
Yes.
And I was wondering if we just got unlucky and drew the wrong reviewer, or if there's new guidance for them from the state, or just what?
I don't think so, because honestly, literally 5 examples that are either under construction now or are just completed, and that it's not like they came back and told us, oh, well, there's a new guidance, there's new rules. It's all the same rules.
We just got a bad reviewer, or
That's
one that takes a little bit longer than others.
Everybody looks at these things differently. It's not black and
Yes,
white.
I
So
understand.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else on the table?
Just a couple, I noticed in here a couple of times it was mentioned, obviously you've had initial contact with FWC and DEP, so you're ahead of that on
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
And it comes up in here within this 10 foot of the toe of the dunes. Are they putting that in there because do you see any potential issues of staying with that? Because I was thinking if it turns out to be a switchback like what they're asking for the other ones, are we gonna have enough room there, or are they? I just see they definitely called that out in this thing, or you listed it
Yeah.
as something they told you.
Yeah, and the 10 foot within the 10 foot of the dune is something we've stayed within
So it's-
multiple redesigns that we've done on the others. So I don't think that'll be an issue.
Even if it goes to a switchback, nothing.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I think we're gonna make sure we get, and just to be clear, we submitted this back in November, so it's not like we just submitted it. But our plan is to definitely have the design laid out, get pre-approval before we go any further. They actually like the switchback better, but it was just so much more expensive. So that's why we tried to get away from that. It was gonna be as much as $100,000 more for the switchback. So we redesigned it on our own dime and then went back again and designed it back again. So we've got a lot of costs associated with this one.
Well, that was my question on this particular one. I know we're at, but before Elizabeth leaves the room, I would like to get her update. After we get through this one on the current too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, maybe in comments we can grab that, yeah.
Yeah,
Are you gonna
she's
stick
probably-
around? Are you sticking around?
That's all I have.
Any other on 3? Motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve the task order for design, engineering, and permitting to walk over number 3 with Anchor CEI.
I'll second.
Motion second, take a roll, be ready then.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Fasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comprehensive plan funding, Mr. Buddy, you want to start it, or?
I'll start it immediately, turn it over to someone who's much more professional at this sort of thing than I am. So Hunter Bailey is in the audience, so he will step on up and take us home.
That's the only part you were gonna say? You're gonna do the whole thing this morning? Good morning, Council. Hunter Bailey, NFPS. So we're working on different funding opportunities for the city from day one, like we discussed about. So one of the ones that we have coming up here soon is CPTA funding. That is passed down from Florida Commerce. It's the Community Planning Technical Assistance Funding. What that does is allow us to submit for up to $75,000 to help the city either do it internally or hire a firm to complete a comprehensive plan review and approval. So, from my understanding, it's been a few years since we've done any updates to our comp plan here that are in, long-term review like we've been discussing. So, typically with these, just from previous bidding opportunities and different things that we see across the panhandle, You're looking anywhere between about $120 to $150,000, $160,000 is what a firm or the billable hours typically takes to do a full review of your comp plan, to update it where you want it and do all the processes, the public meetings, the hearings, etc. So what this program that we're asking for approval to apply for basically takes off the 50% large first up portion of that if we're awarded that funding. So the approval that we're asking for today is to submit the application that we've prepared with reviewing with some other people that are working with the city to ask for that $75,000. We have a submission date of May 1st, but the application you have before you today is our, honestly, pretty much the full application with a few minor changes we may need to make.
And that's basically gonna take care of us starting it
Yes, sir. So
as soon as possible.
correct. Yeah. So
Completing that 75 within the year of 26.
yes, sir. So the typical what you see is you apply for this funding, May. They do the reviews through May, 1st of June. You typically get an award around July, and so that's a conversation we can have with Mr. Mike about budgeting the remainder into the budget for next fiscal year. However, you guys would like to do that. What it does is allow the data collection, the public hearings, all the major upfront work of getting everything ready for your comp plan, and then the back end of what the city would help supply is the actual rewriting and review of the comp plan and then getting approval from Florida Commerce. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Mr. Mel received a letter from Florida Commerce here recently regarding your comp plan, that it's time to review and update it anyhow. So did they give us a June 1st or June 30th date?
June 1.
June 1. So they send out an EAR notification, which is basically saying, hey, it needs to be reviewed. Let us know if you're going to make changes or not. And so with the approval of this today, if this is something that we're going to pursue, Mr. Mill would also work with Mike and whoever else within the city to submit a letter back to Florida Commerce stating, yes, we submitted for CPTA funding. We are going to do some reviews, and here's what we think is going to happen with the process.
All right, so basically we're asking for approval, but there's obviously state law that says we need to accomplish. So keep that in mind when we approve or deny.
The approval for today basically is approval to submit for the grant to ask for $75,000 towards what the total cost could be for the city.
And then we come back with 27 and budget another 75.
That would be the goal, yes, sir.
So it's just, I think it's worth being explicit that if the council decides to approve this to move forward, that we are hamstringing ourselves in the next budget, that we must have a $75,000 line. I'm personally okay with that.
I am too. I wouldn't use the term hamstring. I think we should be responsible
And we've been preparing for it.
Right.
I mean, we know it's
Yeah,
right.
we're going there next time after we get done.
Sorry, one more, Jason.
You're good.
So if we receive this grant,
Yes, sir.
when is the deadline for all expenses that must be expensed?
So a comp plan review can take some time, depends on what all we're wanting to change, what input we've received from the community, how much needs to be deleted, changed, updated, right? Because we're not looking at just, hey, we need to make some grammatical errors. A lot of the comp plan honestly still has some pre-Michael stuff in it. We have the strains of the economic development growth from the different subdivisions and different coming in, so there's a lot of stuff that could go into this. Comp plans for larger counties and municipalities can take up to 6 months to a year sometimes. Is that?
Yeah, so I agree that we have a lot of work to do.
Yes, sir.
But I guess my question was, are there any restrictions in this grant that once we receive, it says
We have
congratulations,
to spend it by this time.
you must have all funds expensed by the state.
I would have to check that. I don't want to lie to you and tell you that I know exactly what that date is. But typically what you do is if you're awarded the funding, you decide that within the grant agreement with Florida Commerce.
The last 3 years I've seen grants, I've yet to see a grant that does not have a timeline on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Every
But it would be agreed upon in the grant agreement with Commerce. But typically, I mean, it's not going to be a 3-month turnaround. We have to.
No, I would hope it'd be like at least a year.
For-
Even if
yeah,
it's a
for
year,
sure.
we should know about it.
Yes, sir.
Normally it's 12 months that they
Yeah.
do.
But, and then one thing I didn't mention, of course, us submitting this grant application is no cost to the city, but today is, a task work order in a sense, but for $0. So we're not charging for submitting this.
Jason?
So, and then maybe in here, is this a match grant
Or is it a
So
75,000, I mean, if it costs us 120,
75,000.
the 70, we still get, you go
You
ahead.
still, you're good. Yeah. So the 75,000 is what we're asking for, right? And so that's one thing that I talked to Tammy and Mel about is you may find that we can do it in-house for 75,000. You may find a firm that turns in a bid proposal for, hey, I will do it for $75,000. That's just what we're asking for to do this entire thing.
But it's the grant, it's not a match.
No, sir, it's not. So we're asking for that 75,000. There's not a, you have to put up another 50% to get to that 150 to do the full thing.
Yeah.
The 75
That's
is
what
what we're
I'm-
asking for.
Okay,
So it could fund it 100% if you find someone that can do it for that.
so then, the other thing, just for the council, for us, obviously, we're getting ahead of the ball. This seems like we can get it in this budget, obviously, you guys will have it. But I don't see any reason why we can't say now that it can't be completed by the end of the budget next budget season, you know. And then that will be the 12 months. You know,
We
we
could.
put this in, budgets in October, September,
Yes, sir.
and then we got 8 months.
Left over until the end of the.
I'm just bringing that up because it's a
You're
good
good.
goal to
Yeah.
try to, you know,
So Hunter, in your expert opinion then, 75,000 on our end would be our worst case scenario in your opinion, you think? Like if we get 75,000, you don't think our total
From-
cost would
if-
exceed 100?
So to do this right, and we done a breakdown, and this is not, discussing it with the planning firm you have on staff, and you going out for bids, right? Just from what we've seen in previous bid awards in some of the cities and counties we work with, and then break down what, if we were to do it internally at NFPS, right? That it would cost us, I come up with 149,325 was my, so that's where we're looking at, those
I'm trying to
150s.
remember the last one, 17, it was right there, it was around 150, I think it was in like 5 on there, 125.
So-
Anyway, but yeah.
So yeah, so that's what we're asking for today, is just to work with Mel, work with Laura's firm to finalize this draft application and then submit it to Florida Commerce for review. And again, right, hate to say it, you're increasing your odds by 50%. I'm not guaranteeing you we're getting this money, but it's the only way to try is to submit, so.
Okay, just to clarify, we're asking for 75,000 on the grant. That does not, most likely will not take care of 100% of the cost.
Correct.
We'll budget that cost in for 27. Yes, sir.
I just got a quick question, I'm not familiar with that type of grant. Is 75,000 the limit, or if we know that it's gonna cost 150, can we ask for 150?
Florida Commerce only allows up to 75,000 in Florida. We would have asked for more if we could have, I promise
Okay,
you.
I just didn't know. if there
I
was a
wouldn't have come
limit,
to you and said, hey, y'all need to put up some
Yeah.
money. No, we would ask for 160, 170 just to cover ourselves, but no,
That's why we have
75 is
the
the
extra,
max.
right?
That's why I was just wondering why 75 was a number, so that's good.
I didn't wake up and just think about it, I promise you. It was a number they made me put at the top.
All right, we don't need to vote at the table, we just need a consent to move forward with the grant.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
All yeas,
Yes.
no nays.
Good work. Appreciate it, thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is the lobbyist contract. Mr. Mel.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city staff had met with our new lobbyist that was awarded the RFQ by the city council. Had a really good meeting with them. One of the principals of the business, actually, she and her family has a home on 26th Street. So she has some skin in the game because she can be considered a local. So that is good for us that they have a little special interest. The contract that was given to us was forwarded to our city attorney, who did his due diligence, made some adjustments, and the end product is what you see in the packet. This is a one-year contract beginning on April 1, which is 2 weeks into already. And also has a one-year renewal, which automatically happens unless either party gives written notice 30 days ahead of that original period expiration. The monthly fee will be $4,500, and that is what it will cost over a 12-month period, which is about $54,000, something like that. We did have in this year's budget $50,000, because we don't have much of the year left, then we have plenty of money to pay for it. That is just the normal fee. There may be some other direct or indirect costs later on, like if they have to register for particular meetings and that sort of thing, there may be some additional costs, but that's based on the projects that we have. So we did give them a list of the projects that we want them to consider. And keep in mind that the legislative session is over. However, you know, the governor's going to call back people for the budget and that sort of thing yet. But there's probably not a whole lot of work for them to do the next few months, because their time to shine is during the legislative session. But in the meantime, we will continue to meet with the Southern Group. We will get them more in-depth familiar with all the projects that is on our list. And that way, when the time comes, they'll be more than ready to speak to the people to help us accomplish the goals that we set out. Any questions?
Get an open to the public. Any questions from the public? Man, come on up.
Christy McRoy, Tallahassee and Port St. Joe. This is more of out of curiosity, so it sounded like a flat monthly fee. Okay. Is there also, based on the projects, and if they secure any funding, any sort of administrative fees that they will receive? So is there a percent based off of funding that they secure?
They announced that there was some additional cost beyond the monthly fee, so I'm thinking, yes, it would be, but.
Okay, but in your contract, does it say, for instance, you know, if I secure $1 million or whatever amount of money, that there is a 5% or 3% administrative fee?
No, I didn't say any percent.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? And close the audience, come to the table. I guess the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, this month's gonna cost us $4,500, what are we doing? So, we luckily presented a list to the office when they met with them. And the list is basically, there's about 7 different items on it already, so that we could get started on the Gulf Coast Parkway. Everybody's asking questions about it, we know nothing, we wanna find out. So that's one. Highway 98 sewer. MX1 relocation. Fire and police. AvCom stormwater, been around for a long time. The pier, oh boy, should be number 1. It's not, this is kind of like American Idol, this is not in order. Because the pier would definitely be number 1. And also the jetty. So there's some things that they could work on right away, and I was excited about that. You know, it's one thing to pay $4,500 a month, but if we don't have a plan right away, we do have a plan, and it's a big percentage of the obvious already.
Well, Mayor, I would just say, you know, we threw that $50,000 in the budget just like throwing a dart at a dartboard. We threw a number out there not knowing what it was going to be. I think it's good news that we can find someone that can work for close to what we've budgeted on an annual basis. Now that we know there are going to be some other ancillary costs as we go into the next budget season, I think the council would be prudent to budget a little bit of an increase in that amount. Those items you mentioned on that list, we can all prioritize them however we would like, and I do agree the pier is at 1 or 2 on that list, but I think going forward, and the community has been echoing it, and those of us that live here, we've got to leverage some power with Gulf County and Port St. Joe to get this Back Beach Road, Gulf Coast Parkway on the DOT's 5-year plan. The traffic with the 600 people a day that are going to Eastern and all the tourists, and just in the last 3 weeks, I myself have witnessed 2 near pedestrian vehicle collisions in crosswalks. So, you know, I'm excited that we've got somebody working for us at the state level. So,
Good, good.
And I will always maintain that the only way we're gonna get the Highway 98, aging infrastructure fixed through Tyndall is the federal money. So, I know this, this vendor that we've selected as a council has limited federal government contracts, but they do have some. So I spoke with Mel, and he says they've got people that can talk to, so I'm very much interested.
Yeah, well, we have 4 or 5 months left in this year, and we did budget 50,000, so we're in the plus going in. We're gonna carry over, and we'll probably have to take that carryover a plus 50, somewhere along that thought process. I agree.
Yeah, my questions were just in an answer that the $4,500 a month, as long as we're getting some services, because I'm all for the and it sounds like they're willing to come and meet and discuss and kind of get ready, so when it opens, they're ready to go. We're not scrambling around, these are the items we want, these are the
Right.
projects.
well, and I think all of us at the table and the public here and the ones that aren't here, we're all frustrated with the almost 8 years of bureaucracy we've dealt with, and it's time to push whatever buttons we can. Whether FEMA goes back to work or not, we need to get our projects finished, period. And if it means getting someone to get them all the way to the White House, that's what we need to do. So,
All right, well, the main thing on that I looked at, probably every contract I looked at, is you always look for the time in, time out, and can you get out? And that's obvious, the contract has that, put in, we got 30 days. It's a 1-year contract with a renewal of 1, so I think it looks good. Everything else was pretty much boilerplate.
Yeah, just to tell the citizens and that ask, it does say that if it exceeds $500 a month, then the aggregate will not be billed out without the client's written approval, so it will have to come for approval.
Okay, we have a motion approved or deny?
I make a motion we approve the contract with Southern Group Florida.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Take a roll, please, Tammy.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. You know, there's some things going on in the city that I'd just like to point out just real quick. Bringing a lobbyist on is a big deal for this city, this size. It really is. I look back 6 or 8 months, and this is a compliment to the council, okay? I look back and we have a personnel management team. We didn't have that before. These are all good things that we're moving with, and you're doing a good job at making sure we're making the right decision for the city, planning for the future. Appreciate it. Okay, next thing on the agenda is ordinance 885, a budget amendment, second reading. Do we have a motion to read?
Make a motion we read ordinance 885 by title only.
Second.
Motion second, take the roll, please, Sam.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Ordinance 885. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, authorizing the amendment for the appropriation of funds and adoption of the amended budget for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026 for the general water and sewer fund, providing for severability, providing repeal of parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Open the public, any public comment on second reading? Go ahead and close the public. Any discussion at the table?
No, these are the numbers we assigned back in September, right? 150 from the sewer fund, sewer replacement fund, and 200 from the water fund, right?
That's correct. Those are the numbers that were approved after budget to make purchases versus leases.
To amazing they're the same numbers, and I had to go over them 10 times to make sure you did the same thing. They did calculate out right. Do you have a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion we approve ordinance 885.
Second it.
A motion second, take the roll, please.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Ordinance 883, Duke Energy franchise agreement, first reading. Mr. Mel?
Yes, sir. Our current agreement with Duke Energy does expire later this year. So our attorney has worked with Duke Energy attorneys and hammered out the agreement that you see before you. This is a 30-year agreement with an automatic renewal of 2 successive 5-year periods. In other words, that seems to me like that's 40 years altogether. One of the issues in there is that Duke Energy will pay monthly franchise fee to the city of 6% of their base revenues for the preceding month. And that amounts to a nice little chunk of change for the city that we more than utilize in multiple places. Mr. Mixon is here from Duke Energy in case the council wants to ask any questions to or from him. But of course, first we have to go to the first meeting. So back to you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to first read Duke Energy franchise agreement, ordinance 883.
I'll make the motion we, for the first reading of ordinance 883 by title only.
Second.
Motion is second, take the roll, please.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Ordinance 883. An ordinance granting to Duke Energy Florida LLC doing business as Duke Energy an electric utility right-of-way utilization franchise, prescribing the terms and conditions related to the occupancy of municipal streets and right-of-ways in the city of Mexico Beach, Florida, for the purpose of providing an electric service, providing for severability of provisions, and providing an effective date.
And open to the public, any comment on ordinance 883, Duke Energy franchise agreement? Been closed. Any discussion at the table?
Is the 6% just like a renewal?
6% is a paid to us from
From the
that.
gross-
It's been
from
from
the
the
gross
past
revenue.
contract also, as
Yes.
carryover, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that comes along, you look at, I have September, I just pulled one just to kind of see what's the effect of 6%. Revenue in Mexico Beach, going to Duke is somewhere about 614, or 414, 415,000, and the city monthly fee was 24,000. So, you're looking at that going right in our general fund. Any other questions at the table? We have a motion to approve or deny. Before we go to, I'm sorry. Do you have anything to say, Mr. Scott?
Other than we appreciate very much the relationship that we have with the city of Mexico Beach and also with the customers that we serve here, that it means very much to us.
Right back at you.
Anybody who lived through the storm, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Our pleasure.
Okay, do you have a motion? Oh,
Yeah, Tim,
I'm sorry.
excuse me, Tim, as our attorney, do you have any concerns about this?
No, we went back and forth on a few drafts, and bottom line is the obligation of the city going forward is if it has an annexation or a contraction of size, then within 60 days, the city staff needs to provide a signed copy of that ordinance to the annexation coordinator for Duke Energy. And that is really the only main obligation of the city at that point. We'll assist them in providing addresses if we can, of course the county does the addressing. But originally there were other reports and things that were in it that I don't think we were doing, and so I took all those out, so.
He's tough negotiator.
Yeah, just two things to the council, just for the future, just so we're all in that same mindset when we sit down and we look at contracts. Contracts never come to this table until they're looked at by our attorney. Okay, everything is approved by our attorney and the city administrator. There's a lot of back and forth, and I think Mel mentioned that the attorney made some changes and they were agreed upon. So there's a system, and when they come to this table, our attorney says, look, it's for us to evaluate from that. Do we have a motion to approve or deny? Or any questions?
That was the first reading.
I'm sorry.
First reading.
Okay. Do we have a motion for first reading? Did we already done?
Yeah,
You guys are screwing me up.
Just going too quick.
Yeah. What's the matter? Yeah. Going on 2 hours. Come on. All right, so we did the first reading. We opened the public, we're discussion at the table. We're done. Moving on.
Do we,
Shipping.
could I ask a question? Do we have a date for the next reading, and would that be the next?
August the 28th.
August 28th?
April the 20th.
April. You're messing me up now.
Tammy, you
It's
handled
contagious.
the publication, you already got that done?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Has nothing to do with these 15 pages I have. Alright. Then close that, moving on to shipping containers for storage, and this is conversation by Mr. Mel.
Thanks again, Your Honor. It had been brought to this table at one of our previous meetings about the proliferation of shipping containers in some of the yards and how some of the containers have even overstayed their welcome, shall we say. So, you know, we do have the capability of making sure a shipping container follows our rules like you would for an accessory structure and that sort of thing, but in the past, they were just kind of given some informal approvals, and so here we are. So at this point, if there is a desire of the council to address the shipping containers, we would need some direction from the council about what to put in that ordinance. So we did look at what a definition is, and this is just a quick and dirty thing. I'm sure that upon looking at the ordinance, Mr. Sloan will have his version that will be legal muster. But items that we need to discuss, you know, should we prohibit them outright regardless of the zoning district? Is there a desire from the board to just outlaw them completely?
That's how they currently stand though, right? They're not allowed, so.
They're not disallowed either.
Well, with the exception of their technically by our own development code, not allowed on vacant lots.
That's would be an accessory structure without a primary structure.
Right.
So I don't know if we're just speaking freely here. My thought is, I understand that people want to use shipping containers for convenience, for moving in, for construction. I'm actually in favor of them, so long as they're not on a vacant lot. But I'm equally as interested in making sure there is a sunset date. So I don't know what that date is. Is it 6 months? Is it 1 year?
It sounds like we don't have a process for shipping containers. We just, they're out there, there's some of them that I've seen out there for years.
Yeah, that's.
So I gotta think that if we would put an ordinance together that says something along the lines of, you can have a shipping container for moving, you get a permit for a short period of time, whatever that time limit is, and then after that, it's pulled out. We have to decide whether we wanna go with that, or we wanna go with something that makes it a permanent structure.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts were to keep it temporary in nature. And, you know, if there's a disaster or something and somebody needs one, but I think that can be, it's not, when I hear of another ordinance, we went through a lot of ordinance here. I guess we're gonna have to do it, but trying to keep it as simple as possible, and my vote would be on the short term side of the fence.
I'll tell the council what I told the city administrator, in my opinion, is A, I don't think a shipping container is required as a component for constructing anything, period. Number two, if any citizen is doing a remodel project and needs to store stuff temporarily, I think we need to have a very, we can call it a liberal date. I think a 6 months, if you're totally redoing your house and you need to store stuff, I think 6 months is an adequate amount of time. But I think, and you can drive around town, and we know there's a lot of them that have been on A, vacant lots and construction sites, not just for a year or two, but 5, 6 years, and some of them even pre-hurricane. So I think, that's my opinion, I think we need to enforce A, get them off vacant lots, and B, the ones that have been on construction sites for more than 2, 3 years. And then we're gonna have to have an ordinance, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm hearing, is there an appetite to have it, to direct the city administrator to start an ordinance so that we start looking at it, and I think there is. That's true.
And I think it's, I just want my last little, short term in nature, you know, these things. However the ordinance goes through, I mean, it just needs to, like, none of this, like you say, the whole, this, regulate them like accessory structure, it's just gonna be whatever y'all is short term.
Yeah, give me a map where you're putting it, how long it's gonna be there, and then get it out.
Yeah, and if you're under construction, or you remodel, or, you know, in the event we have a natural disaster or something, it kind of changes.
Yeah, one of the things that I can tell you, 3 or 4 years ago, we started on the RV thing, okay, on lots. And if you remember back to that, there was a lot of conversation, a lot had to go into that to get it all done. So this is gonna be along that same line.
I just want to make sure that we're clear on definitions, because I think there's a difference between a giant steel shipping container and one of these little short-term temporary moving pods, right? So we should just be clear on the definition. I think these little pods should have a much shorter time frame than, let's say, a steel container or even a steel half container.
I tend to disagree just from the standpoint that a lot of people could go to the storage pup down here, and if they're remodeling, they could put one of those in their driveway and put their furniture in it while they're redoing their bathroom and their kitchen. And if you could have the same sunset date, whether you're using a shipping container or that, but these that are just sitting there on homes that are in a dilapidated condition or sitting on a vacant lot, they should, have never been there in the first place.
So let me ask, just not to go down too much the hole, but this is in here. How are y'all gonna go about and this is for the attorney, because we've had this with other items, the ones that are here, what teeth what do we have to force that?
Well, I think
to force removal or to move. I mean, you know, it's almost like I've seen stuff, people do something, and it's like, well, they're here.
Well, your law is gonna be prospective, so going forward.
Right.
But what I would recommend is that once it's implemented, that city staff provide notice to anyone that has one, that they need to come in and get a permit. And then the one, at least you get some compliance going forward. And then the ones that do not do that, then we can deal with them on a case-by-case basis.
But what about the ones that are, quote, in direct violation already? The ones that have been, we just turned a blind eye to, that have been here since.
Well, but
I think that's what he's saying, you gotta start.
What I'm hearing is that you really didn't have a regulation.
I think it's been in the land development code.
We have something that's so like, we have an ordinance right now that says, well, maybe not an ordinance, but it's in the code, that says not on vacant lots. Why can't we
enforce that?
You can enforce that. You can.
So the ones that have been given, quote, verbal approval by a previous administrator 5 years plus ago, that, go ahead and put it on your vacant lot, that it's still there 5 years later, we can immediately tell that property owner, you've got 30 days to get it out of here.
On
Yeah,
what?
if they're in violation of the land development code.
Based on a structure on a property with no structure.
Or what is they go into the code enforcement process, right?
To the special master.
Right.
Now, the problem becomes, you know, a lot of places were vacant lots, not by design, but after the hurricane, they became a vacant lot. So, you know, you may have some pushback from those folks that said, wait a minute, I had a house here, but it blew away in a hurricane. And so while it's vacant now, while I'm working on it, it wasn't vacant to start with. So we'll have to deal with those on a case by case.
Yeah, I think the attorney's saying right. You put the ordinance in, then you force them to get a permit, and then that starts a clock.
Correct.
Ticking.
And-
And they get the 6 months or whatever time they'll come up with it, and then it's only gonna be.
And I think 6 months is on the high end, you know, just the gracious end. I think, you know, 90 to 120 days would be more.
Okay, we want to give the city administrator,
Yes.
his question is, do we want to do something?
Yes.
We want to start a template, do we not? Okay, so get your input to the city administrator and he'll evaluate it with the attorney and we'll start to put something together that we can present to the council. Anything else, sir?
I think you've given us a pretty good amount of discussion to get things started. I'll await individual input from board members as they come in, and I'll pass it along to our city attorney so we can craft an ordinance.
All right, moving on to number 8. Public parking, Mr. Mel.
More discussion. As you know, public safety is always our number one concern. That's why we're here. That's what gives us the authority to do what we do. We've made some adjustments. You may know that the shops, the colorful shops where Caribbean Coffee is, since the hurricane, people have been driving across the sidewalk to park, and that has created a virtual nightmare there where people are trying to come in and out of that parking area. DOT does not look kindly upon multiple ingress and egresses, you know, to their state highway. So we made the decision to go back to what was there before the hurricane, which was have just a one-way in from the east and one-way out on the west onto 29th Street there. And we put up posts and ropes so that people could no longer cross the sidewalk. So that has been a major enhancement to the safety down in that neck of the woods. At this point, we have the Beach Bear next door to that, or close to it, that is wildly popular with the public right now. They have parking in the state right-of-way, and as people at this point back out into Highway 98, they gotta look at 2 lanes of traffic. And if you have a large line of traffic to look at, and you got vehicles to your left and your right, the sight lines are just next to nothing. So that's a major issue, but at this point, Lieutenant Marty is in the process of speaking with the Beach Bear of taking an idea that we first heard from the mayor, actually, of making that diagonal parking there, not straight in. Because if you're diagonally parked, you're only concerned with just 1 lane of traffic, not 2. So that would enhance the safety in that area as well. When it comes to allowing parking in the state right-of-way, there is no desire to take parking away from any business that is now in existence. That's simply not going to happen on our watch. But there is a question that we don't have a definitive answer from DOT at this point. Julie's doing a nice job of making conversation and contact with the right people at DOT. But we want to look at, do we have some authority, if any authority at all, to regulate not allowing parking at all in certain areas? In other words, parking on the north side of Highway 98, I don't think is what we intend in this area, because we want this place to look as nice as possible, and we have this nice grassy areas between the paved highway and the sidewalk. If people park on that, it's going to get rutted up and it's going to get bad. And we have seen that already. Fact is, I noticed on Saturday and Sunday, people were parking on the north side of Highway 98 where Sunset Park is. They park there and go to the beach. At this point, you know, we don't have authority to tell them they can't park there. So we're trying to get from DOT what authority we do have, if any. As you know, that there is parking on the south side of 98 on the dedicated beach area, and we've allowed, and DOT has allowed parking there practically forever. And we have no desire to change that at all. But parking on the north side anywhere might be something that we would look at. When it comes to access to the beach, we have a parking, of course, at Parker Park. It is a public park. People can park there at any time if they wish. We have parking during the day on 37th Street. We do have a number of lots, 3 or 4 lots the city owns that we do have, shall we say, shelled with our shells that we have. I know Marty's been working with some people about parking there in case there's an overnight issue occasionally, but we can have him discuss that later. We also have the 14th Street where the police and fire station used to be. And we do kind of use that as a lay-down yard for some of the projects, for like the 14th Street lift station and that sort of thing. So as soon as some of those pieces of equipment and materials are out of the way, then there is a parking area there as well. And not to mention the temporary parking lot that the St. Joe Company put in on Canal Parkway. And I think that will be enhanced very soon. The paving of the cul-de-sac on Canal Parkway should take place either late this week or sometime next week. And so when that is done, then that will allow people to more easily, you know, go down Canal Parkway and have a nice little area to turn around and maybe drop people off and then go back to the parking area and park up there and then walk that block area. So some of the information is still ongoing in our quest to get answers from DOT, but you know, that's kind of the long and short of it. So any questions so far?
Anything from the public?
Carrie Rusco, Mexico Beach. It's not just the Beach Bear Cafe parking. I was pulling out actually from the south side at a fabulous pizza food truck, and it was so crowded, and I have a video of it. You could not see either direction pulling out of there. The Mexico Beach liquor store, their wine and spirit store, they're backed up there. If you're backing up out of there, you can't see. You got 2 lanes of traffic. So we clearly have a parking issue, and you know, one other thing that I've seen, especially this last week and the week before with spring break, was the number of pedestrians that we've had. A vast increase, at least in the 5 years that I've lived here, with the pedestrians, and I'm not at all surprised to hear that there were, you know, almost 2 accidents. I see it as well. And one thing as we talk about planning for the city in the future is thinking about, you know, this is a small town, and it's small enough that it could be like a little sort of a walking village, and that goes with the Back Beach Road getting completed and what we could do to 98 to slow traffic down, improve the parking, and make it more of a walking, and in that line perhaps parking, and these are just ideas I'm throwing out here, more centralized parking and then people can walk from that. Now, I don't have the answer for that, but I just wanted to get that out, so maybe it's on record. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment from the audience?
Lisa Logan, Mexico Beach. Question. Toucans is hopefully getting ready to open up. They have their little bitty short parking lot in the front where they used to park, but this one's smaller, and they hardly have any room to back out either. So how is that going to be handled? Because they're going to be backing almost directly into oncoming traffic on 98. Just a thought. I've not heard anybody say anything about that, and actually I wonder how that's going to be handled.
As it has in the past.
Just back out.
Well, there is parking across the street, you know, that they kind of got a lay down yard there right now. They'll improve that and make it into a parking lot, but that's not that much parking there. They also own that lot behind Paradise Shores.
Paradise Shores, yes.
So I'm hopeful that they, make that into a parking area as well. So that then creates the pedestrian traffic going back and forth with people trying to back out in front of the store, so it's not gonna be fun.
Well, I just want y'all to remember, a lot of people who have moved here and after the hurricane do not remember the amount of traffic at 8th Street and Toucans and how much of a problem that was for years because of crossing 8th Street. They were parking there because Paradise Shores for a long time didn't exist there, and that's where you park, in the pit. So that's not going to go away when this reopens. It's going to be very interesting to see how that is handled. And also, I'm curious to know, has the city renewed the so-called contract with Toucan's owners about utilizing the city's beach parking as part of Toucan's parking?
There's no such thing. The only agreement we had with them was for that area to the east of their property, which was the walkway to east side, and then it went to that little deck, right outside their door. That was what the agreement was. We've never had an agreement for parking with them.
I beg to differ. There was an agreement of 20 years for $1 a year.
The $1 a year is what I was just talking about, not for parking. It does not exist and never has as far as I know.
Okay, I disagree with that, but.
Okay.
I just wanted to address, you brought up the Toucans thing, and they kind of fell into that category of some of these businesses that got the rights to rebuild after the hurricane for that period of 2 years. So Toucan secured their permits before that expired. So they are allowed to use that. So, and it's just like, we talked about the liquor store, we've got some other the Gulf Motel, the Beach Bear Pizza. Those places were the original, if you look at it, some of the original spots that were here that utilized that. But if you're allowed to rebuild now, if you went and built something there, the way DOT's rules are, the way the city's rules are, you cannot do that same concept. So we're only dealing with, but I wanted to answer the Toucans because they did fall under that. They actually rushed to get them permits. One, to keep their footprint, but it also on the other ends, the parking and the storm, all that stuff was, the city allowed that. So just so we know, that these areas that are here, but when new stuff comes on the highway, whether, no matter what it is, food trucks, trailers, anything that comes business-wise, they're supposed to have their own parking on their own property. And there's also ingress, egress, all that stuff comes into that.
And footprint 4 to 1 and all that.
Well, and Jason, the regulation also states your parking numbers based on the number of seats you have.
Mm-hmm.
And And look, I'm excited about a lot of the things that are happening, right? I like that the Beach Bear is open and all, but we all know if you count the number of seats in that place versus the number of parking, the numbers don't match. And at the very least, angling has got to be done. I think as a council, and I don't want to jump in waist deep, but I'm going to jump in. We have a responsibility as a council, and Mel used it in his opening statement, safety. The DOT gives us their authority that they're giving us is their position is there's no parking in the right of way. So that gives us the ability to say as a city, and that we can put up a sign from this block to this block and say there's no parking. And the DOT is not gonna say a word. And we can enforce that because that's what their response to the mayor was. So I don't want us to keep tap dancing around the issue. We know where we need to say, we love it that you come to our beach, but you're either gonna have to park at Parker Park or at on 14th Street or wherever this council says we need to designate public beach parking. We don't need to keep having these round and round discussions about what are we gonna do about parking. We know where the major safety issues are. We know one of them is Sunset Park. Let's address those. Let's prohibit parking there, and then let's let Mr. Marty talk with our businesses that need to adjust their parking. Let's be partners, and then let's be proactive going forward as new things come online to say, okay, let's not pretend there's not going to be a parking problem here.
Well, and that's what so you got this parking thing that comes up with the transient, the beach school that we're trying to address. That needs to be, and we can do that through public stuff. Then you have this business stuff that's been, and you're gonna have to catch them on development orders and stuff like that. Because I can tell you, Beach Bear brought their development order here, it went through the process, and all that stuff was calculated. So if you wanna address it.
One thing we told Beach Bear, that the parking, the original parking that was in the front, I personally told them.
Yeah.
During that development order, when we were sitting here, I don't know if that was a year ago or, but I told them, that parking is right-of-way parking.
Oh yeah, and they know that.
Everybody knows.
Well,
But it went through.
I think, and we can go back and look at the development order, I don't believe that development order indicated the number of outside seats that they eventually decided to put in.
No.
Right.
Well, then that's where you can go back.
So-
If you want to talk about that, but they were getting back to, there's not many of that original business, I'm just gonna call it the business parking, and there's only a few left. And the city granted them. Now, if DOT comes in and puts something in there right away, then that's so be it. They have to deal with DOT.
Right.
It's not a city issue.
They're hearing the same thing at the table, and the same thing we've talked about over the last few meetings about parking. I don't think anybody here is against people parking. They're against the safety items that they create and the line of sight that they don't allow. So if we can concentrate on safety and line of sight and handle it that way, I think we would be better off. These ones that were pointed out, you know, there's several different parking areas around Mexico Beach that we could use, but we don't promote it. We need to promote it. We need to say that public parking, when Marty's out there issuing a ticket, a guy on the south side of the beach that parked on somebody's lawn or driveway, it should be, he should know before he leaves there that there's public parking at Parker Park. There's public parking at Canal Street. The access to the beach is on 40th. So park there, take that street down. You park at Parker Park, go across the 27th, you access the beach. I think we need to be more informative about the parking areas that we do have and force people to them. That's the solution. And where we can take care of safety, we have to be really careful. It is right away, and I've said that before. I tell you, I asked the question at DOT and I waited a month to get the answer because we were told that there were some agreements. There's not any agreements. They answered me simple. DOT parking, no parking on DOT.
No parking.
That's how they answered it. So we have to be careful in what we enforce also. Because it's not our area, it's the state's.
Are you still on citizens? I tried to get here as quick as I could. I know they started talking up at the table with you.
We never
Yeah, let me
closed
just get Ms. Hamilton and I'll let you come
I
up.
was just thinking maybe to encourage people to park at Parker Park or 14th Street, if we could provide some type of a tram to ride them over the highway to the beach. You know, maybe that would be an encouragement to make use of those properties as a special.
Well, they don't even know it's public parking right now.
But if we made it more aware, and here's the extra bonus, we're gonna give you a ride across the highway, and that might make it more
That's
encouraging.
probably not even too far fetched. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If we can educate the people that are coming here to our beaches to where they can park, not don't park there, don't park there, don't park there. If we can educate them to where they can park and how they access the beach, I think we'd win. Yes, ma'am. So I agree with that.
Julie Gardner, I apologize for being late to this conversation. Mel, I was getting ready, so I may have missed what you said. Did you say something about overnight parking at a park? Did I misunderstand you?
Well, there's an issue with overnight parking on 37th Street.
Yeah, but we're not fixing to start allowing overnight parking in any of our parks, are we?
There's no parks in Omaha.
Okay, that was my first thing. So I have been at all the food trucks except for Tex and Killer, which they use Mr. Ike's parking, so they don't have as big of an issue, and Michael has his own parking. But the other food trucks in town, it is an issue because you've got to pull out into traffic. You don't have another choice. And God forbid a truck that's a 2500 diesel be sitting there, because if you're in a car even as big as mine, and I was in a vehicle the other night, and it did happen. When we went to pull out, I could not see, and I had a big SUV, and I could not see to pull out, and almost got hit. So that's an issue. I think what Lisa was saying about Toucans, if we don't make a decision now, when Toucans opens, back before the hurricane, where the liquor store was, that was a real estate office. The amount of traffic that was coming and going out of that real estate office was very minor. Now it is a liquor store, and it is a revolving door. So now you've got people backing out there, and then people backing out of Toucans, and most of the parking, if I'm not mistaken, in front of Toucans before the hurricane was handicap parking. So now you have a disabled person who may or may not can see very well because they're in a wheelchair trying to back out into traffic coming two ways. I think that we're waiting for an accident. Also, I think we need to look at wherever we have a park in this town that we do some type of crosswalk. 26th Street, on down the road at these different condos. The other day, I almost saw a little kid get hit because he was walking with some other kids and he was trying to cross right down there at the marina, that area. There's not a crosswalk down there, and that kid almost got hit. So we have got to do something. I mean, I know that our police force, God love them, they have been pulling folks over left and right and writing tickets. I've seen them. I mean, I thought they were looking for somebody for about 2 weeks. But we're doing a good job as far as enforcing our speed, but we have a problem with parking, and we have a problem with the amount of crosswalks we have and where we have them. We really need to look at everywhere that there is a condo that we have some type of crosswalk, because we know people are crossing there. And that I know of, I don't think there's one on that end, unless I missed it. But that's my
Appreciate it, thank you.
And I'll just piggyback on, the nearest crosswalk for Parker Park is not anywhere. Nobody parking at Parker Park to go to the beach is gonna go up 3 or 4 blocks, cross the street, or go west 3 or 4 blocks across the street, so.
Just real quick, you have those wonderful walkovers on 14th, 15th, and 16th. It's across from Centennial Bank. What I noticed is, of course, then you have the El Governor parking space that says, if you park here, you will be towed. So that leaves limited area because, of course, Centennial Bank says this is for our customer parking. Yet you have all those walk areas, 3 really good ones. And of course, when you are a mother or dad and you have kids, you're looking for where you can walk and access the beach. And those are really close together, but yet there are only a couple of parking spots on that south side. So that does limit, if you take away the north side, any possibilities. And I'm sure, you know, your engineers and everybody spent a lot of time and effort and money permitting to get in those walk areas that are very, they're wonderful. But as far as parking goes, it doesn't lend to that
So the
area.
walkovers are not in line with the crosswalks and the parking lots.
So, well,
That's-
at that particular location she's talking about, yes.
So thank you. Just consider that.
Thank you.
Yeah, my only other, I have one more comment.
Good.
Somebody brought it up. We are tackling transit parking and highway parking. I know there's been some calls and stuff coming in of overflow parking for housing. We're not in the parking business for rental units, just so we stay clear on that. And not just rentals, whatever it may be. But, you know, that's a private matter. I mean, I don't think the city needs to get into, you know, figuring out where, just because you brought 5 cars to the beach, where you're gonna put your extra cars. We have, we need to tackle the transit. I know y'all know that, but I just wanted to speak on that because it's been talked about several times. We're trying to find places for people to park to go to the beach and walk from a state of mind.
And not to create a safety issue for everyone while
Yes.
they're doing it. I mean, I think the mayor nailed it. I don't think we're gonna get any pushback from anybody at the state level if we enforce line of sight, no parking. You know, if there's a street coming in here, you can't park on the north side because guess what? People can't see, to Julie's point, can't see how to pull out into the road.
We all saw that in the last 6 months.
You know, and I know Marty's guys are doing a great job, but I saw a man and his wife in a marked crosswalk just last week, right up here, the one at 15th Street at the bank. They had walked to there, pushed the button, the lights are flashing, I'm sitting there stopped. They start across and the car heading to the east, if the man hadn't turned and saw them not stopping, they would have been hit.
Yeah.
And I blew the horn and they just kept going, never even let up. So, we can't prevent all accidents from happening because people are gonna be negligent, but we can do everything we can as a council to create a safe environment to minimize the opportunity for accidents.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to keep talking about parking, but we also need to take some actions, and I think there's some actions that are right in front of our face that I think we need to give the city administrator some direction so he can give it to Public Works, and we can or to Marty and tell him to start to move forward. So tell me if I'm right or wrong or hearing the wrong thing. I would think that we're okay with designating one of the 5 areas we just talked about, 37th Street lots, Parker Park, 14th Street, Canal Parkway, and I don't think you mentioned the annex, the hotel annex, because that's right-of-way parking. That doesn't belong to the government. You know, they can put the signs all they want, you know.
But they can't tow anybody from there. So, Mayor, the city administrator and I had this conversation months ago, and you see this in a lot of municipalities. I'm aware that the old governor owns the property that's off the right of way. But that parking could be designated as paid beach parking.
Other municipalities do.
Legally, it could not be based on the right of way, but it's been used for parking. Can we continue to use it for parking?
And there's,
Because of that
there's
enactment.
probably 25 spaces there, and you've got a beach walkover, they wouldn't even have to cross the road.
Correct.
Can we get them to take that sign down?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If this group is saying this is what we want to give the authority to,
Yeah.
we can start looking at that stuff.
But in that particular location, I don't wanna keep. You're also gonna start promoting the same thing we just talked about people backing out in traffic. That's exactly what DOT doesn't want. They don't want 25 spaces right on the highway,
Well,
backing directly out.
and the DOT's history too, Jason, is there's a whole big chunk of the hotel parking lot where people back out in.
Yeah.
So
But it's been, yeah.
it's been doing that way for 50 years.
That's hard to control.
It's obvious, you know, you look at the statistic, you look at anything you read about diagonal parking. There's a reason why it's popular and why it's happening. It eliminates 50% of the problem right away.
That's right.
By eliminating one lane. So I don't think that we should be asking the people to go to diagonal parking. Based on safety, I think we ought to tell them, you're gonna park on the right of way. We could either go to the state and tell them that we need you off the right of way and close it down. Or let's try to make it a little safer and go diagonally for a while, see if that works.
If we can write
But we
it
need to
on.
start those conversations right away. We need to think outside the box. I mean, Ms. Hamilton said about having a trolley, that picture. I'm sorry, I don't think that's outside the box. I don't know if that's the answer, but we need to think outside the box. I was in Wyoming, I don't know how long ago, when I was there, believe it or not, there's been a tourist, and they have one street going through the town. And I look, there's no stoplight there, and there's some guy standing there, and he's starting to cross the street, and he's waving a flag at me. A little flag about that long, about this wide like this there, and he's waving. So I stopped and he crossed the street, went over on the other side, put the flag back in the pole. Outside the box. Every
Well, hopefully
500 feet or whatever, they have
don't
this
see
little flag on
flashing
one
lights,
side of the
maybe they'll
road.
see a flag.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's the answer, I'm saying that we need to think outside the box and get some answers, because this is right in front of us, guys. It's right in front of us. It's a couple months away before.
Well, it's 6 weeks. 6 weeks is Memorial Day. So we need to do something now and
Well,
address it.
I think the first thing he said when he was going to is what we've been talking about is give Public Works and administrative the directions and designate these few areas, at least start designating and start trying to funnel the people to the park or
Right.
wherever to park.
Can you guys hold it down back there, please? Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask a question. Does the city have any no parking signs other than the ones we bought last year and put them on wooden stakes from Ace Hardware? Do we have any that were up pre-hurricane that we could attach to a pole?
I'm staring at him.
I'm asking-
I'm thinking as you're asking me the question. I think we do. I think we do have official no parking.
So my opinion is this: we designate one of the parks, and I can agree with any of them, as public, or 2 or 3 as public parking, and provide signage to visitors so they know public parking is here.
I think we should put a public parking sign at Parker Park.
And
And tell everybody this is where you can park at.
And on top of that, I think we need to install permanent no parking signs in these dangerous areas from 15th Street, however far west you want to go.
Absolutely.
Okay, are we good with, no, I know there's a lot of conversation, but I'm hearing that there seems to be an appetite for identifying public parking and directing people to go there. Okay. Is that a task that you take on?
Definitely. Yeah, we can do a public information campaign, we can put stuff on Facebook, on our website, things of that sort.
Okay, and I think the other side is where we see that there may be a safety or line of sight issue, can we address that by making a suggestion for diagonal parking?
And/or No parking signs.
or eliminate completely, either way, yeah.
But I think, Mayor, the critical area we have with public and traffic, and not that it's bad all the time now. We just had the conversation a long time ago when we were talking about things for the lobbyists to work on. The volume of traffic through town is just, it's grown exponentially. You know, and it's year round now with all the traffic going to St. Joe every day. But the main crux here are 15th Street. A lot of people come in the back way, 15th Street, they hit 98 and have to go right or left. Then we have the combination of, we've got the hotel, we've got the RV park, and we've got Sunset Park. And then when you throw people that are parking up the north side of that right of way, and people turning out, people turning, it's chaos. And it's only chaos for about 12 weeks a year. But we need to put signage up and educate the public, so go park here, you can't park here.
Well, you can't, and I'm with you on that, Mr. Cox, because you can't take every street from First Street all the way down and say, no parking on those right of ways. You could, I understand you can't, but it's probably not the logical thing. It's like eating, and I said this to Mel all the time, we need to start eating the elephant, because eventually we can eat it, but take a bite at a time, okay? We need to take a bite at it. We identify 15th Street as a busy street. We all know that's a busy street. Let's do it right there. Let's say that when you're coming in on that street, the beach access is on the other side directly across from that 15th Street. But the crosswalk is down here on the right-hand side.
In front of the bank.
Yeah, on the right-hand side. So how can we not allow we can not allow parking from 15th Street to the crosswalk? Just stop it.
Well, and Mayor, honestly, if you're talking about line of sight problems, we could prevent it within X number of feet from every single street in town, because Fifth Street's a pretty busy street. I lived over there for a long time. A lot of traffic goes up and down Fifth Street. Well, if people are parking on the right of way, and then you have people that have improved the city street right of way, and there's golf carts, and then people have to pull out. Well, if you tell motorists, if you park within 150 feet of the intersection here, you're going to get a ticket.
Here's line of sight is red, and I went over it many times. You have a street coming in and a street going out. This is the point of where those two streets meet.
45
degree angle.
Exactly. Take that and you got 50 feet that way, 50 feet that way, there's your line of sight. So no parking in that area.
Yeah.
Not difficult.
But there again, if you eliminate we want to try to keep our city beautiful. Well, now with the people on and off that grass, our public works people have got to go out there. They can't even mow in a lot of these areas because it's so rutted up. So that's the back burner too, is beautification of our town. So safety and beautification.
All right, so we're giving some direction to the city administrator. Go ahead and identify a couple areas of public parking, have some direction to those areas with recommendations of crossing. I mean, we need to do this all the way. We need to, here's where you park, here's how you get to the beach. You know, just a sign that tells you public parking, beach access.
And maybe to tie a bow on it, on this north side here where City Hall is, look at all the traffic. Our city workers that are coming and going from City Hall every day. And our fire chief's not here, but if there's an emergency, where's our fire trucks come out at? Right out there. They have to go in, and if they can't, there again, it's an emergency situation. So, yeah, keep the people, send them to a parking lot and educate them. You can't park here on the north side. It's just too dangerous from here to Parker Park. No north side parking.
Okay, so the mission is to identify general public parking, line of sight, and safety. And let's see how we do. Good?
Mhm.
Okay. Any other conversations about,
I was gonna say, regarding the public parking, if we wanted to do possibly a trolley, would that be something maybe we could get a grant for?
Trolley, no,
No?
that I know of. I could research it.
Okay.
But if I may, I was sitting here thinking, so DOT has funding through a program called SS4A, Safe Streets for All, to do
what is
a
it, FF what?
SS4A, Safe Streets for All. It's planning and demonstration funding to do a traffic study plan for the city overall to determine what your difficult areas are. We know that, right? But how can we improve it? What's the plan, right? And so basically what it then becomes is a shelf-ready grant application for other funding in the future to just plug and play into whatever you can do that you want to ask money for DOT, for parking, for red lights, for crosswalks, for whatever. Yeah. There's an implementation side of it. But the first initial would be just the planning and demonstration side to determine what our problems are, how can we fix it.
And maybe part of the answer of how to move crosswalks to different areas. Yeah.
We're currently doing one for Perry, Palatka, Madison, Campbell, Baker County, Lake City. I mean, we've done quite a few of them, so.
you get on that.
Yeah.
And that's 100% grant.
And oh, by the way, I love traffic circles.
All right.
One thing, if I may, Hunter Bailey, Weedwall, Florida, not coming from NFPS, do we feel like people would walk, and I say further down, right, but from Florida Avenue, if we looked at some parking along Florida Avenue right there in the middle, even if it's parallel parking or however you want to do it, walk 2 streets down to a crosswalk and then over to the beach? We've seen that in some of our smaller communities like Horseshoe Beach and stuff where they may have to walk a block and a half to get to the beach, but it keeps them off the right of way.
Yeah, I
Just an
think
idea.
that's just a training. I think that's part of what we're talking about. I mean,
Yes, sir.
people are generally, as it
They'll park wherever they need to.
things
get to
go
the
on, you're
beach.
gonna have to walk further and further to get to the
Correct.
beach to have, I mean, that's just.
But that's just an area where y'all don't own necessarily a lot to do a parking lot, but you may be able to go in between Florida Avenue and that little grass area and just put parking there, just a thought.
Where you wanna think outside the box, so.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we can talk about the SS4A funding more if you want to. But that cycle's open now.
It's open right now.
It's open now.
And I believe it's in the end of May.
Yeah, so we've got another month or 2 to apply for that, but that's just plug and play. I'll just take a grant application, change it from City of Perry, but City of Mexico Beach and submit. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
Today's Tuesday. I'm sure we'll give you an answer by Friday.
That'll work.
All right. We're gonna get and move on from parking and get an update here, maybe at the 28th meeting. That's kind of what we're doing. Is that good? All right, thanks, sir. All right, moving off public parking, moving to citizens' comments.
Hate to go back to it,
Come on up.
the parking part, and I know we just talked about that.
Well, you got 3 minutes to talk about it. Go ahead.
Whenever discussion is had about the parking, I ask that it be a temporary idea, because we are hoping to have a plan for the city, and if we start throwing up no parking signs, and I hate for it to become a permanent thing when that's not the actual best thing long-term for the city. Parker Park, obviously have some self-interest here. Do we want Parker Park to be beach parking, or do we want it to be a park for families to enjoy? Because if they go to the beach all day and we have concert in the park at 5 o'clock, we're gonna have issues with it. Basically, and this goes all back to what I've already, we need to decide what is going to be the purpose of that park in particular. And these are the things that will go on there. Personally, I don't think people have been doing it lately, good for them, I don't have any issue with that, and if that's what the city wants to do with it, don't have an issue with that. But let's plan on what that is, and we do need, the nearest crosswalk is, and I'm not walking that far, I don't think anybody else is either, so. That's all, just before we do permanent things, and do we have to do no parking signs? Whatever was done with the city with the wood post and the rope, beautiful. No parking signs are ugly. I'm 100% with Mr. Cox on the aesthetics. Anybody that I've talked to knows that that's probably one of the most important things, if not the most important thing on my list of things that I think the city could work on. I think the city's done a fabulous job with the recovery, and I understand, and this is no knock on anything, and just wanted to throw that out there, and thank you.
Good deal, thank you. Any other comments?
Mayor, I know I handed you and Commissioner Hamilton a copy of this, and I don't know if I actually have enough to go around. I want to make sure that the clerk gets a copy, and maybe y'all could share, because I also want to make sure the attorney gets a copy. Mayor, thank you for our conversation beforehand. One of the things that I noticed that we have in common, of course, with Port St. Joe is our...
Just for the people that don't know who...
Oh, I am so sorry, Mayor. Christy McElroy, Port St. Joe in Tallahassee. We have the same building inspection company. And as you well know, Bo Krill has retired and moved all of that over to Scooter Hodges. I used to sit on the planning board for Port St. Joe and always had a great relationship really with Bo. I'm seeing some things in Port St. Joe that concern me, and that's what that handout is about. There are a couple of photos in here. It pertains to our public park. So you see the Bayside Lumber Building Supply. Then you see a commercial permit that says Mexico Beach, and it was in the box for Port St. Joe. So then it goes into the next page is actually a concession stand in our park. It says alteration and addition, which it is not. It is an entirely brand new building. So I was communicating with the building official, who is Scooter Hodges. As you all know, your Mr. Botwell is a provision. Botwell. Okay. I'll just call you Greg.
No, ma'am, you won't.
Okay. I'll call you Mr. Greg. Anyway. Anyway, he is a provisional. He is not a building official. He's a provisional under Mr. Hodges.
Mr. Chris, what is your point here? I mean,
Well, when I look at...
3 minutes and we don't want to...
I know, and I'm wrapping this up. I wanted y'all to look at this in my communication. But when I look at the house that is over on 14th, I received all the information that, and I thought that Ms. Logan did a great job on that write-up. Mr. Botwell.
Val.
Okay, Val.
It's simple, it's fine.
Okay.
B-O-U-T.
I get it, because people call me McElroy when it's actually McElroy. So, but I'd never take offense to that. And he signs it respectfully, building official. So he isn't a building official.
Okay.
So.
You say that already, so go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, I just think we should look for other options.
Okay.
And make sure that we're getting the information back from the people that are supposed to be doing our inspections.
Okay.
And that the building official is looking at our concerns, because he's ultimately accountable. And as I said to you, Mayor, y'all are very lucky because you are in Bay County. And I've met with Joel Schubert on several occasions, who is the administrator for the county. And they have a building department. And so if you do not have a building inspector, you can, according to Florida statute, always use the county. Thank you.
All right. Any other public comments? Moving on to staff comments, Ms. City Administrator.
Well, do you wanna have any questions for Elizabeth, so she can get out of here?
Oh, you know, that's a good point. Ms. Elizabeth. And you can thank Mr. Mills for that.
That's all right, no problem.
I think, if I remember right, I think Jason had a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Just wanted to get an update out on the two. I know I've been getting them through mail. Where are we at? Are we gonna make Sunset Park deadlines and 7th Street?
I believe so. So we've been having lots of conversations with FWC and DEP and the contractor. From what I understand, we were getting a lot of requests for changes from FWC directly. So DEP acts as kind of the clearinghouse. They get comments from other agencies, including FWC. We started getting comments directly from FWC asking us to make modifications. We made all the modifications that they asked us to make, and we came up with what we thought was a solution, a design that they would be happy with. So then last Thursday, or maybe it's Friday, I got a comment from FWC that says we've sent all of our comments to DEP, which then makes me think that then they've approved it. So now we're just waiting on the clearinghouse to send us the approval. I've called multiple times, I've emailed multiple times. The guy's name's Renard. He has not responded, but I understand that that's not super uncommon. So I do expect it. I was hoping I'd have it before this meeting, but I don't have approval yet. I did talk with our environmental consultant though, and she said that we can actually construct during sea turtle nesting. We just have to take some extra precautions. So hopefully I'm gonna keep calling and pestering and being the squeaky wheel that I can be, and hopefully get that approval shook loose this week. And then I've talked with Maria with MKM, and they think, and I've also procured a surveyor for them because they were concerned about the timeline. So I've got everything lined up, ready to go. I just need that letter from DEP, which I'm hoping is this week.
So the question are we definitely, did we go to the switchback system?
No, that's gonna cost the city an extra $100,000.
Yeah, but so they approve, they're looking like they're gonna approve your original.
The original design. There's some minor
Original design.
modifications that shifted up closer to, kind of goes back to your original question or something about, we shifted it up closer so it's now closer to the dune, whereas before we kind of skirted along the backside of the dune but stayed within that 10 feet. Now we're up a little bit further to get it out of sea turtle nesting habitat. So it's a little bit more up on the vegetated dune is where so we just shifted a little bit more landward, and so we think that that's gonna.
And I was told, you've answered all, that's good. I mean, hopefully we will still get that, but something, if we get the field permit through, I guess it's DEP, that as long as we put up the silt fence and get started, yes, we can construct during turtle season or what?
I have heard that as long as we get started before sea turtle nesting, I haven't heard that. I've just heard that we can actually construct during sea turtle nesting. The idea is, of course, to get the pilings in as quick as possible. MKM says they can put pilings down really quickly. The only thing that we don't have a final question, it's still kind of a final question mark, is they are requiring some boards to be put along the base of the dune walkover where it's less than 3 feet from the sand. So that is going to be an additional cost. There may be a small additional cost with kind of making the shifts. I'm hoping that we can get that worked out either using city forces or by a small change order from the contractor. But since we don't have approval from DEP yet, I don't want to take it back to the contractor just yet. So. But yes, we do anticipate that we can construct during sea turtle nesting. Again, I do expect a small cost increase, but it will not be $100,000. So that's what the last quote
Well, I
I
hope
got.
it's not.
I know. Well, I was a little surprised that it cost that much to go from one to the other. I'm just scaring the mayor all day today with my numbers. But yeah, no, we anticipate that it's going to be a nominal cost to do this. Like I said, worst case, I think city staff could even attach this.
The boards. The biggest thing is, I know you're close to trying to get this, you're aware of that. And I wanted to ask the question, I mean, I didn't know if we're switchback or they're approving your original.
That's what we think. Now, like I said, we redesigned it on our own dime. We redesigned
They
it for
let you
switchback.
push it through in that state.
Yes.
They haven't said redesign this thing as
They like the switchback better, but
yeah.
it's expensive.
Is there an alarm that needs to sound as far as if you don't get an answer by Wednesday or what?
Oh, listen, I am not giving up hope. I love persistence and optimism. That's what I operate on.
Okay.
So we are going to keep moving forward, and we are getting this thing in. So If it comes to pass that somebody says you absolutely can't do it, I will let y'all know, but right now, we're doing it. So.
2
we're gonna get it
weeks.
done. Huh?
You got 2 weeks.
I got 2 weeks, well, no, to get started.
Well, you use the
You got 2
word
weeks to get
persistence,
started.
as long as, just keep.
I'll keep
People
it
have
up.
called me relentless a long time, and you keep on.
I'll give them their number, I'll give them the ED's number, tell them to call them. That would be great.
All right, well, thank you for sticking around and answering this question.
No problem. Can I tell y'all 2 more exciting things?
Yeah, we like it.
Cul-de-sac will start Wednesday, so they're gonna start paving that, so I got an email, y'all all got an email while we're in this meeting, so they will need all the cars and everything moved out of there, but the paving of that's gonna start next week, I'm sorry, the 22nd Wednesday, not tomorrow. And if y'all saw, when I was driving in, they were putting the pilings in for the amphitheater, so I don't know if y'all saw that. I do wanna give, credit to BGN, there was some, confusion on their part with somebody that they had working for them, that their original bid did not meet specs. We called it to their attention early on, they said it was no problem, and once they dug into it a little bit further, they realized it was gonna be a pretty significant cost. They were moving forward with no additional cost to the city, so they honored their bid. I'm really proud of them for that, and they're moving forward. They've been great to work with. The boat ramp is also out, it's been advertised, so it is out on the street as well. So, just wanted to keep us updated.
All right.
Things are moving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Mel.
Well, this past week, we had a sewer leak. Garrett, you wanna talk about that real quick for me?
Yes, sir. Good morning to the citizens and the council, Mayor Wolf. Just want to stand before you guys and tell you thank you for letting us purchase that vacuum truck. This past week, we had a break on the 14-inch force main, and a job that would have normally took us 2 hours to get it done, we had it completed within 40 minutes. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you again.
Good job.
Next in the batting order, I guess Sam needs to talk about cans and that sort of thing.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, people need to dump their old cans, so are we picking them up, yes or no?
Come on up to the podium there, Mr.
I'm
Sam.
on the
Come on.
podium, whatever.
There you go, okay.
Morning, everybody, morning. If you have your old cans out by the cans, the new cans, we'll pick them up. Right, January?
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll pick them up and dispose of
We
them?
will dispose of them.
Yeah.
Yes, we will dispose of
You
your
will
old
not
cans.
unload them?
We will not unload them. It'd be better if the cans were empty, yes.
Mine got picked up this morning, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, just call the number, it's on our Facebook page too, it's directly to me.
Anything else with the trash cans? Some people have asked about putting an address on it.
People have already done it.
And they've already done it, and
So,
they've already
I
bear-proofed them
mean,
too.
Our goal is that they always have that trash can
Right.
at that address, so why not?
And bear-proofing, people are doing it now, so
Yep. Pick your battles.
pick your battle with the bears.
They're not
You know,
our
whatever you want to do.
Can I ask you, since you're talking about?
Sure.
How's it going?
It's going
How's
great.
the new system?
The bulk of it's already put out there. We're getting calls on the extra cans for the rentals. Some people were missed. I mean, they're getting
Yeah.
acclimated with the new
How's
cans.
it working for public works?
That's what I mean, the guys, the public works, has everything.
I mean, you got brand new truck out there, you got the flappers on there, it makes it a whole lot, less
And
stress
you're
on
using
it.
that?
Yes, I would say 95% of that they're using. Yeah, the 5% we're working on that. Yes, yes.
I've seen both sides of that. Yeah, I've seen them lifted up, thrown in there. I've seen guys take trash out of
We are
blue can.
working
can.
on that. We're working on that. It's just a.
Well, I don't know if that's not a good, I mean, if there's one bag, Gail next door, I mean, she puts one bag out every other day. So
I guess the perception
she's building
is-
out this big old drum and they just take that out of there and put it in mine.
I guess the perception is using the new blue cans and using the new $150,000 trash truck with the flappers and saving the guys' backs.
So that's the
So,
key. So that's the thing.
That's the whole thing, you know.
It's a
we-
perception though, right? We sold these new trucks on a variety of things, but one of them is
Right.
to decrease operational
Mishaps, that's
and
correct.
injuries.
That's
So
correct.
when we see one of the city workers taking the one bag and okay, that's against the messaging and the safety of the sanitation workers that we championed.
That's the whole
for
thing.
this.
If you gotta put bags on the outside of the can, then you need another can. That's another upcharge. But yeah, we're trying not to reach into the cans and pulling the bags out and doing that.
So, we talked about, obviously, we're implementing where we can help people get rid of their old cans and then it's gonna phase in. But what do you think, and this is the administrator too, what's kind of timeline? Because one thing I do see, and I know we've just introduced them, is the old cans are still left there, and especially like Reynolds, they're still filling the old. I guess we're gonna have a sunset date where those cans have to go away.
At least, a month, January, this month, that was gonna be allowed to have the blue cans plus their old cans. And then hopefully starting next month, it's just the blue cans.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to have a program where we.
And you can still break down the cardboards and put them next to the cans, you can still do that, that's not a problem.
Yeah, I just wanted to just talking about getting rid of the old cans, we gotta get them out.
We can't prolong using the old
Yeah.
cans. Exactly, and then you're gonna start getting charged for the over garbage, but, you know.
Okay, Jan, you had something?
Well, also in that respect, if they're using the blue cans, but then they're also using the old can, the guys are taking a picture, they're getting that excessive charge, and in the, we agreed that we give them 3 chances, and if it 3 times in a month, they have to do that, then we automatically take them a second blue can. And then we haven't done this, thoughts going around, possibly like a letter that we give to them that states, you know, you have to use our cans, so you have to pay this extra fee for this can because you've been using your other cans on top of the blue can. You know, just something explaining what the new ordinance is. Not everybody knows it, so.
Key is to get them another can.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, and get rid of all the old.
Well,
Correct.
And I understand, this was a big thing, and the
It was.
cans all didn't come in together.
Oh, yeah.
Mel and I have had a conversation more than once about, because there's still beachfront rentals down 98 with signs out, so there's no doubt they're rentals.
Well, we have been fixing that.
We're fixing that.
Yeah.
We had somebody the past, 3 or 4 work days, so
Yes.
Thursday, Friday,
I've seen
and
the
this
guy
week
putting
riding
the
around
cans
with
around.
cans, and if they see a sign, they're putting it there.
And we got problems creating from all this, we got people putting their household garbage in the beach cans. Well, I'm gonna remedy that the beach cans are going back on the beach.
The ones that are now up on.
The ones that are 98, yes, sir.
They're going down.
They're going down. They're going down back on the beach, where they've been.
So then when your guys go to collect trash, they're gonna have to go down the beach with a truck and trailer or?
That's what they did for years.
They did it for years. And you're talking about what kind of trash is gonna be on the beach? A couple of beer cans, maybe some sandwiches from Johnny or something.
A broken chair.
Whatever.
Broken chairs.
I mean, you could bag most of that
Umbrellas.
stuff. You could bag most of that stuff. Put it in this
Well, I
stuff.
think we actually had, not to get too far, it was something, didn't we have a dumpster on the trailer?
On the trailer, you pulled it behind the.
And then that way the truck could just pick the dumpster up.
It wasn't not a problem. You just have that, you won't have any household garbage in these cans that are lined up down
I've seen people stop
98.
and put it.
Well, they've been doing it lately more now because of what's going on with the trash. So,
Sam, are people understanding how to position their can to make it easy for the guys to pick up? There's directions on the can itself on how to do that, but are they pretty much
yeah,
making it easy for you guys?
it's not like the garbage truck that has the arms on it. I mean, they bring it to the truck and there's directions on the can. We just, yeah, absolutely.
Are we enforcing yet the part of the ordinance that says must be screened TV?
Yes.
Well,
I mean,
Well, so the reason I ask is people have the misconception that we require an enclosure.
Well, the
Not-
enclosures, the
not
old
what
enclosures are not gonna work. We all know that because the cans are bigger. What we're asking them to do is either take the front plate off and put them in that enclosure or put doors there because we cannot pick the cans up over
That's fair.
the enclosure.
That's fair,
You know.
but there's still a misconception that they must have an enclosure if they're outside. That's not what the ordinance says. The ordinance says they must be screened from view. Now, what does screened mean? Does that mean you can still see it? I believe the council wrote that ordinance specifically vague.
We have not moved the location of any of the cans. I mean, we just got new cans. Just put them back where they were before and they were out of the way. We haven't changed any of the rules where the cans go. We've, you know.
When they call, because we've got a ton of calls.
Oh,
People call
ton.
and ask questions, and I explain to them, if you could just put it behind your house, right around the corner, that's fine.
That's fine.
That is fine, you can't see it. I had one customer call and said, well, we put our old cans behind this bush by the side door. She sent me a picture. Oh yeah, that's fine, can't see the can at all. Yeah, no, you don't have to build something.
Just out of view.
If you
Exactly.
can just keep it out of view.
That's all.
I think maybe there was a Facebook rumor about the,
There
you know, and
was.
somebody
Yeah.
told me they spent $400, they built it.
They did, yeah.
You know, it was like, well, nobody told you you had to do
Yeah,
that. That was
they're just
Facebook rumor.
misunderstanding that part,
It's
yeah.
not a necessity.
But all in all, it's going good. Like I said, a couple of people, either they got missed or the rentals need another extra can or 2 cans. That's all. It's going good.
Well, if you're happy, it's good.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Well, it's great to have people to talk about things so I don't have to. Because they're more intimate about things. That actually works out for the best. A good bit of what I want to talk about has been covered already, but I did want to mention Sunset. We promised it's going to get done someday. As you know, the original contractor pulled out. The second one worked with the insurance company, they came to terms, but they said it's gonna be a manpower issue, so it may be quicker to get someone else if possible, otherwise we'll have to wait a few weeks. So we contacted a local contractor who's in town here. They looked at Sunset Park yesterday, we've given them all the information with all the engineering reports for structural and that sort of thing, and they're looking at the mechanicals tomorrow at 10, and so then we'll be getting a quote from them, and at this point, if they can promise to get to it very quickly, we'll just let them do it, and then we'll haggle with the insurance company, because I'm tired of messing with them.
We already have some money from the insurance company to get ahead and just get ahead and start this thing. Tired of waiting
We
around.
gotta get it open.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
Exactly. 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We got 6 weeks.
We'll use the money that they gave us, if you hadn't authorized to move forward, and then we'll fight the insurance company for the rest.
You know, the good news of it all is the fact that the items that were gonna take the longest in lead time were the items that we have already purchased from the original contractor, which are the underdecking of the roof, and the posts and beams and that sort of thing. So we are at least that far ahead, so that will help things. So, Your Honor, that's enough out of me today.
All right, good job. Mr. Attorney?
Sure. Glad to be back.
Glad to be back. Okay, then, department heads already spoke. Yes, sir, yes?
Yes, sir. I certainly do. So this is not, I apologize, this is not how I normally conduct myself to people of you that work with me every day. You know how I treat people. So here's what I'm gonna say. So all of this is, one of the council members asked me before the meeting how someone could get so much wrong information. And I have an answer for that. It's because they don't get their way. So here's the timeline of events, and this has happened more than once, and I'm going to take the next 48 hours and decide whether I'm going to file an official complaint. I will let you know, and your HR department. I have been pressured to do things, not once, but 3 times by a certain person that are illegal. Apply standards that do not apply to everyone else to certain projects that this individual, who is a council member, does or doesn't like. So this just happened recently, and the next day, guess what? We get an email to everybody but me describing problems on a particular project, which I think I responded to you. I never got that email, gentlemen, before Mel sent it to me, and ladies. So I addressed that. I sent an email back. Mayor, you got it, and said, with that project, here's where we're at. Okay, so that all happened because someone was told, no, I will not apply a standard that is not in the building code to a particular piece of property, no matter how many bedrooms it has, no matter what you put in your driveway. Okay, that's not my concern. So that's where we got to with this right here, but I won't be personally attacked. Unfortunately, some people have a problem understanding the word they read. Maybe they read it, maybe they didn't. My license, I'm licensed under the state of Florida to perform all the duties of a building official under the supervision of a licensed building official. Mr. Creel never had that license. Mr. Hodges has been the building official or one of his designees. So if any of you, ladies and gentlemen, are unhappy with my work, you can pick another building official. We have many within the company. If you don't care for the decisions I make, and my job is to enforce the rules you've written, not the ones you wish were written. And if you don't like them, you are the people that have the ability to change them, not me. Okay? Now I want to address any of the nonsense from Port St. Joe, okay? Because it doesn't apply here. We're in Mexico Beach. But I will say this, there's been theft from permit boxes in Mexico Beach, which I have made the city administrator aware of. Plans are copyrighted. Permit boxes are not public dissemination. There's a process for that. The statute actually says that those records, which are yours or Port St. Joe's or wherever else, are disseminated through a public records request through the clerk of records, which I am not. Your records are not mine. I don't give them out until the city clerk, in this case, tells me to. Now, I told somebody they couldn't take pictures of my workspace or demand that document, things have to be redacted in certain cases. From me at that moment. That is not my job. And here we are today. We're going to attack Greg Boutwell, B-O-U-T-W. You're either about well or you're about sick, is what I normally say, but I'm going to say about really angry right now. I apologize for that. So any questions that you need to ask me concerning Mexico Beach, feel free to come to my office. If you don't want me in that office, we'll get you somebody you're more happy with. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other department comments? Yes, sir, come on.
I just wanted to inform everybody that we are in day 2 of our annual financial audit. Thanks to the staff and my staff in particular, we had 65 individual requests from James Moore, and all of them were satisfied before the audit start date. So now they're perusing all the information, and then they'll be giving us testing controls to test. And it's going to be a 2-week period is what we've got factored. So we're hoping to have this year's audit done early and no problems.
Mike,
and I'd like to thank CRI too, because they've been a big help as well.
Yeah. Mike, just real quick, the catching up on the audit was huge. I mean, and you've been here and pretty much helped get us there. And we appreciate that, you and your staff. And I know they all worked hard. There's no doubt in my mind because I talked to a lot of them. And for you to move right now into the audit, be caught up, and have this closed in June will be the first in many, many years. But that's the track we need to stay on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to demand from your staff, and we appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
We will.
Yes, ma'am.
Since this is Mr. Adams' last council meeting, I would like to say how much that I have enjoyed enjoyed your presence. You have done a fabulous job.
In the halls.
In the halls.
3 or 4 times a day. Yeah.
Your knowledge that you bring to the table as far as building the budget has been phenomenal, and you will be missed at the table here by me. And we'll miss you in City Hall, you coming in to get your snacks 3 or 4 times a day.
Might be good for me.
But we appreciate it, and I did it, and it has been a pleasure.
I would also like to say I really appreciated Jason being on city council. I feel like he's always done his homework. He's really on top of finances. Maybe life has gotten more complicated for you at this time, but I hope in the future that you reapply for the city council position, because you're a valued person on this team.
Amen, amen, I couldn't say it any better.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine till the end here, the mayor comment, but I'll go ahead and comment as a council person too. I've been on council for 3 or 4 years now, and Jason was kind of like a godsend for me. I mean, I think there was a lot of talent at the table, but there was a lack of maybe certain things. And I think Jason brought that, and going through the budget was just outstanding. I didn't have to repeat things twice. We understood, we talked the same page, and it went real well. And I do appreciate you being on very, very much. I think I've told you that before.
Okay.
And you've done a hell of a job for this community. And I know that you'll continue to do that.
Yes.
So we appreciate you.
And I'll just say publicly what I told Jason before the meeting, we miss him already.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I think you're gonna be in good hands. I hope y'all keep moving forward, but, since we're under council comments, I got a few before we exit speech. The first thing I did want to ask Mel, the pedestrian bridge, I've been seeing it pop up in the newsletters of getting the sidewalk connected. Is that our last little piece of the puzzle, is to connect that?
Sidewalk on both sides.
On both sides, but the one side is in the project cost, and it's the Joe Drive side that we're.
Joe Drive is not.
Okay, so, because I really want to see it, it's right there. So you had put the last comments, you said that Harder's was sending over a price. Did we get a price from Harder's? Do we have?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay. On the Joe side.
We do actually have a price, but we were not happy with the price per se, so we had sent it back to ask them some additional questions about it. But, and so I wasn't sure if that was gonna be discussed today or tonight.
Well, it's just me bringing it up because it said, maybe, and I felt like from the newsletter that maybe it was a little on the high side because it said something about maybe Public Works doing it, but regardless, I would like to see that finished up. And we're going into the season. I don't know if our guys have time, but that'll be between you guys. But if we could just kind of push it over those. I don't want to expend, me and my money, but I don't want an exorbitant amount of money, but.
I believe it's around $12,000. It's a little more than 12 to do. Yeah, I think that's right. So that's why we sent it back. And if y'all from now, I treat y'all's money like my money, and so we said no. But we estimated, I think, based on unit prices, to be more like around 9,000. So it's not a huge difference. But again, if you want them to do it, we do need to have a change order before we can move forward.
Yeah, they need to hurry up and come back. Hurry up and come back to get that number if they're gonna adjust or whatever. I just like to see it finished. And then, I am gonna say this before I go. Mel brought up, I didn't know what was going on with Sunset Park, but since my days are numbered here, y'all know I'm a licensed general contractor. And I'm not looking for work, but I will. I've made it a point not to deal with contracts with the city. I'm not. It's fine, but if you need somebody to come do it, I'll do it. In 2 weeks. So, you keep going, you're on the right path.
We appreciate the offer.
But then I will keep it within, you got my word, the numbers. I shouldn't say that at this table, but Stay away. Well, the way we're looking at these contracts,
Moving on.
but he says no.
You need to just.
Well, okay, I'll redact everything I just said. I'm not hustling. I want to get it done. That's the only reason why I throw my services is to get the thing done. I don't know what is happening with this. I understand the insurance, but I'll keep it quiet and let just get it done. I won't be able to get it done. So on to it has been an honor working for the citizens, and working for y'all. So it's really a learning experience.
Feels mutual.
I hope that the citizens and the people out there know that to do the job right, you do have to put the effort in. But there's a lot to learn. I mean, what it takes to run this city, and I mean, it's just truly, it's been an eye-opening experience. And I hope the citizens feel, represented well. So anyway, I mean, with that, I don't need you should have stopped me sooner.
When I move seats, I can't.
Yeah, you should look at
How's it going? I'm moving.
This good.
There might be a gap in the recording.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Any other council comments? Good there.
We do have, council, that would be it.
Yeah.
We do have, Jason's replacement in the public view right there. If she wants, you want to stand up and maybe let her, it's Carrie Roscoe, I think I'm saying her name right.
Yeah.
So she is a resident, of course, here in Mexico Beach, around 26th Street or so.
Yes, ma'am.
And she's been here a few years. She's retired military, lieutenant colonel. And so we're very proud that she has stepped up to the plate and is willing to take on a position of city council member.
Very,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
excited to be here. Hope I can fill your shoes, Mr. Adams.
I think she'll serve
We'll see you
well.
on the 28th.
Yes, sir, and I promise not to advocate for any jobs.
Oh, you
Well, I
already
didn't-
wait. You already got up here and talked about Parker Park. I think you live right next to it.
I'm not making any money off of it.
Okay.
Well, I ain't saying I'm making anything, I just said I'd get it done.
We need to clean this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Any other council comments? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, remind everybody that the pickleball courts are now open.
All right. I think you just did.
Yes.
Pickleball courts are wide open.
Yes, thanks
Come play.
to, Public Works and all their
Yeah.
hard work to get that done.
Yeah, it looks great too. I've had a lot of people commenting on it already.
Yep.
One more thing too.
Yeah.
The Easter extravaganza was a great success. We had hundreds of children that came to that. And thanks to, it was Chris and Susan who have the coffee shop and the sweet shop. And they donated 10,000 eggs. We put all the eggs out and in 15 minutes they were all gone. We had hundreds of children. It was a great day and a great event. Thank you to them.
Good deal. Okay, mayor comments. The only comments I have is this little report here is a weekly report put together by a city administrator, a weekly report, right? And it is very, very informative, okay? I would suggest you go on our website and check it out. Anything you want to know, any projects that are going on or anything, they're all in here. Even a list of permitting we've done for the city. This is excellent information for our citizens that don't attend and want to get updated, so please take a look at it. If you have an issue with navigating your way through the website, give us a call and we'll direct you. All right. Only other thing I had is, this is kind of like a, just to kind of get you updated, kind of know that there's some things going on in the background that we may have to make some decisions on. We might have talked about this once before, but the property, Mr. Foley's property, this storage over here, is right next to Public Works. And it's just a little over an acre, right? And I had a conversation with him, was he interested in letting it go, selling it, what do you want to do with it? And he does have an interest in doing that. I personally think it would be ideal, and I think the city administrator thinks it would be ideal for the city to acquire that. And I'm just kind of, what does council think about that? It's about an acre of land, it's right next to Public Works. If you walk back to Public Works, every area we have is utilized. So opening this up would open it up for parking and or storage. Is that something that you think council would be interested in? Or?
I think it absolutely makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
Okay.
Especially with parking and stuff, and if something happens in the future with the police and fire, we don't know if this is gonna be, this was number 2. We don't want it here, we want it there. But initially, when I heard the parking, just like with the pickleball, or now that they're back open, our employee parking, could use it for some, part of it for something like that.
Well, as the
Parking
city,
for the beach.
as the city expands, I mean, it's gonna organically grow. We're gonna need more room for equipment and storage. It just makes sense.
Even if we get everything we want and we move into the 25-acre site someday, this is still gonna stay city property, city buildings, city storage, so it's adjacent. The buyer and the seller are meeting in the middle, let's do it.
Okay. So, just so I'm hearing it right, we may ask for maybe an evaluation or something along that lines from the city. Is that okay?
You're gonna need I don't know how much money you're talking about, but when you have a vote of the council, you're gonna need, to get an appraisal.
Right.
To determine the value.
So is that something that needs to be voted on to move forward with just that particular, to engage in a contract?
Well, I assume at some point, the administrator will ask me to put together a contract and bring it back before you all. Typically, if it were a highly marketable property, I would bring back an option contract, because those, until they go hard, are not subject to public disclosure. If it's not necessary to worry about that, then I can just bring back a straight.
Okay, we might just put together a Foley attorney, city administrator meeting, just kind of have some conversation, kind of see where we're at.
Okay. But you don't need this council approval or a vote
Well,
to
no,
get it.
I'm saying when I bring the contract back.
Well, sorry, maybe I'm not, well, I know I'm not aware of the process. Does the appraisal come before the contract, or is it part of the contract process?
Well, no, it would, you would typically do it before. You could, in the contract, you could set it up for the appraised value and then have the appraisal done. But typically, I would suggest you do it before.
But you don't need council approval to go.
But you
forward.
Well,
with
if
the
you're gonna
appraisal.
spend any money, you could take a vote to go ahead and get it appraised.
Okay.
But don't you want the contract before you need a contract before the appraisal? Or you need something that it
That's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
slip out of the hand.
You don't know what to offer him.
No, but.
You could either offer him a dollar figure, or you could offer him whatever the appraised value comes back at.
Well, that's what I kind of figured usually is based on dollar figure, maybe what's negotiated, and then you get an appraisal, and then you have something written that says, I mean, if it's below the appraisal's below the contract number that we entered into, then it would obviously fall back on the appraisal price, there'd be something written there.
Yeah. So I can work on a contract, mayor, bring it back, then this group can approve that. And I can set it up to do it that way if that's acceptable.
Why couldn't we just have it appraised to see what it's worth?
Well,
Kind of floats
I'm not
around, they
saying
can still
the
sell it.
gentleman would back out on you, but, if you have it appraised and
That's why I said,
it comes
maybe I could
in.
have a conversation with him, you, and the
Yes.
city administrator.
Yeah.
And then just get the authority to go ahead and do an appraisal. That's gonna be under the value for him to okay right away.
Right.
I think that's the way we'll move forward. Are you comfortable with that?
Who generally pays for the appraisal, the buyer or the seller?
So,
Well,
I'm not the buyer, I'm sorry.
typically the buyer would fix
But I would just still
But
think,
it's negotiable.
I would still think, and that's not for me, that you would want to get some sort of contract locked down. even by this very meeting, puts it out there that this gentleman is interested in selling this property.
Well, that's why you typically do an option contract, so that it doesn't get out there before you go hard.
Okay, so the appetite's there, we go ahead and start
Yes,
putting
sir.
it together, and whatever format we have to go forward with, that's what I'm looking for. Okay? That is all I have. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Everybody was on channel?
You know, vote.
That's all.
All three of them at the same time?
Correct.